Happy morning, children. How are you all? Staying fine at home? You're safe there? How are your parents? Are they fine? How do you spend your time, dear? Are you enjoying at home? Or do you feel that you have been nagged at home? Yes? So you have been given all liberty to enjoy at home? Yes, dear? You are allowed to be as you wish, as you wish you can play. Is that so? Or you are allowed to watch TV, you are allowed to be as you wish. Is that? In that case, you are happy, right, children? But if you are keep on being instructed by a parent, or is anybody experiencing that situation that your mother or father is stating that you should not do that, you should not do the other one, you should not you should not remind simply idle at home, you should be very active, you should not touch that, you should clean your place, you should just follow the instruction. Is that the case? Yes? Were you asked to follow the instruction of the parents continuously? If they are doing so, you will not find it, you will not be happy, isn't it, children? Yes or no? That is the same case we are going to see through the poem. The name of the poem is Amanda. Name of the poem is Amanda. This is a poem written by Robert Klein. Actually, this poet, he used to write child literature. Child literature in the sense he will frequently revolve his central idea around the theme about the child only. Okay, so here is a poem named Amanda. From the title itself, you might have understood that it is a name of a female child. So you can guess that it is the female character. Now, as I told you, as I gave introduction, your parents, whether at home or at outside, they'll be expecting some discipline, isn't it? So parents will be expecting discipline. Even ourselves as a teacher, we too will expect certain discipline that has to be carried in the class. Similarly, even parents, they will ask you to be perfect at home. So, but it is not so easy to fulfill their expectation. Do you agree with that, children? Definitely. You cannot fulfill their expectation. The reason is all will not adapt, all will not be interested to listen to the elders. Isn't it, children? Maybe you want to be as you wish, you want to roam about freely, you don't want to be under the control of anybody, and you wish to take your own choice. Likewise, you will have your own expectations. But being in the childhood, everything has been taught by the parents. Do you agree with the statement? Of course, it's true. You will be taught everything by the parents. Once you enter, once you step into the school, you have been taught by the teacher. And once you reach the teenager, that is from the childhood to the teenager, you know, the stage of the teenager, it is the transition period from childhood to the teenager. So in the teenager, what the parents expect, as you are getting matured, so you are as in that you are in the teenage, parents have their own expectation that you should be very disciplined. But the teenagers, they can be rebellious. They can be rebellious in the sense they will oppose. They will oppose everything whatever the parent speaks, because they want to be independent. So apparently what happened, apparently children, that is teenagers, they will be hot-headed. What do you mean by hot-headed? That means quick-tempered. Why the teenagers are quick-tempered? In the sense they want to behave in an independent manner. As they have independent perspective, they are hot-headed. Perspective in the sense They will have some special characters. They'll have some special, a particular way of considering things. They'll have their different views, isn't it? They will not adjust to the others. They want to have, they want to lead them in their own path. That is called perspective. So, teenagers, what they will do, they can be rebellious and they'll be usually high-headed and they will have the independent perspective. In such cases, sometimes even the teenagers, they will not pay attention to the parents. They will not lend their ears to the parents' words at times. Some are very polite, they are very humble, they will never deviate from the words of the parent. People are there, but I don't say that children, those who are not following the parents' words, they are all adamant. But to some extent, they should be well disciplined. They have to adjust to the parents, and whatever the parents do, it is for the well for the children. Do you agree with that? Yes, of course. They are acting only for your future. They are advising you, they are instructing you, sometimes they are nagging you in the sense finding fault with you. They are finding fault with you so that you will have to rectify in future. Nagging means finding fault with children so that can be rectified in future. So that is how parents are, they are trying. Actually, the message, the general message here is parents in their endeavor to make their children well behaved and well mannered, what they do, they are giving too many instructions at times. I agree with the statement. Some parents, they'll keep on nagging the children that you should not do that, you should not do that, you should clean your place very properly, you should be perfect, you should be well disciplined, you should behave in such a way in front of your relations, you should not move with your friends. Likewise, they'll keep on nagging. They'll keep on giving instructions and they'll be finding fault with your behavior. Actually, that should not be done. That is the message here. But that doesn't mean that I am supporting only the children, but both have equal role. That is the message I am going to pass through this poem. Yes. So as I told, the name of the poem is Amanda. Let's see how the parent, she is keep on nagging her child Amanda. Yes, in the introductory part itself, it is given, every child feels that she or he is controlled and instructed not to do one thing or other. Yes, it's true. Every children, they are feeling that they have been instructed much, they have been controlled by the parents which they don't like. You too may feel that your freedom is curtailed, reduced. So, it is given that you have to write down some of the things you want to do, but your parents do not allow you to. Maybe you can try. After this poem, after watching this video, after listening to the poem, you yourself can jot down the points which you would like to do and which your parents are not allowing to do. And slowly, gradually, you analyze whether it is correct or not. Whether the parents, as they are instructing you, is it beneficial for you or not? That it can done it, you can do it later. Clear, children? Let me enter into the poem. Don't bite your nails, Amanda. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. Stop that slouching and sit up straight, Amanda. So from the tone of the poem itself, you can understand how the speaker, how the speaker is ordering or instructing the child Amanda. Very first introducing line is, don't bite your nails, Amanda. So maybe whom do you guess that the speaker may be? It may be an elder, maybe particularly the mother. Because only mother is very cautious and mother will be taking much care with related to the personal hygiene and other behaviors also. So we can guess that the mother is nagging the child, don't bite your nails. So mother is very cautious about the discipline and the hygiene. So she is asking her not to bite her nails. Don't hunch your shoulders, Amanda. What do you mean hunch? Hunch in the sense bending of the upper part of the body. In forward position is called hunch. Let me give the meaning here. So mother wants the child to sit straight or stand straight, not to hunch. Hunch in the thing, bending the upper part of the body in forward position. So mother wants the child not to bend forward. She wants the child to stand or sit straight. Stop that slouching and sit up straight, Amanda. What do you mean slouching? It is to sit or stand or move in a lazy manner. That is called slouch. So the mother instructs the child not to sit or stand in a lazy manner. She wants the child to sit up straight. Up straight in the sense with the without any bend. Slouching in the slouching means to sit or stand in a lazy and downward direction. Okay, that is called slouching. So the mother expects the child to sit in a proper posture. Obviously, parents, they'll be concerned about the health condition also. They'll be considering the child's health also. If the child keep on moving, if the child is moving in a lazy manner without proper posture, in future maybe the child may be affected. So with such concern only, mother instructs Amanda not to hunch her shoulders and to stop that slouching. Understood, children? Yes. So here, can you see in the first stanza, the word Amanda ends with exclamatory mark. Can you see the word ending with exclamatory mark? What is the use of exclamatory mark here? You have been taught about the types of sentences, isn't it? You have been taught how to use the punctuation. What is the use of punctuation, children? Yes, so punctuation is very important in English grammar, isn't it? So what is the use of punctuation? Actually, it is used to create sense, it gives clarity, and it also gives the stress in the sentences. That is why we are using punctuation. And even it is used to organize or structure our writing, isn't it? Here, the poet has used the punctuation exclamatory mark. What is the use of exclamation? When will we use this exclamation? To express the emotion, isn't it? You might have learnt in the types of sentences. Here, the poet uses the exclamatory mark. Actually, it is used to express Amanda's mother's surprise. Okay. Mother's surprise is denoted with the exclamatory mark. Actually, Amanda, she was very sulky. She was sulky and moody. What do you mean sulky? Have you ever come across the word sulky? Yes? Actually, sulky or sulking in the sense, it is bad-tempered silence. Here, the mother is keep on nagging, she's keep on giving instruction, but the child, she just keeps quiet. She didn't respond at all. She didn't even open her mouth to break the silence there. So, sulky means bad-tempered silence. So, mother, she was simply instructing the child, but this girl, she was sulky and moody. So, she was keeping silence. She was maintaining silence, but she had bad temper. She did not like the instruction given by the mother. So, but mother, she was surprised. She was surprised after giving too many instructions also. She was indifferent. The child was indifferent. So, that exclamatory mark is given. Understood, children? So, you should know why the poet has used that exclamation. You may get a question why the poet has used the exclamation in between. You should be able to answer. Maybe 2 lines or 3 lines will be given as an extract, and you will be asked why the poet has given the exclamatory mark at the end near the protagonist or the role name Amanda. So you should be able to answer. It is used to express the surprise of the mother on seeing Amanda's behavior. Clear, children? Now good. Now can you see the next paragraph? That is the continuation of the first stanza, but it is splitted and it is given in bracket. Let me read what it is. There is a languid emerald sea where the sole inhabitant is me, a mermaid drifting blissfully. Why should the poet give this stanza alone in bracket? Bracket can be otherwise named as parenthesis. Why the poet has given this statement alone, this stanza alone in parenthesis? Any idea? Any guess? So you might have understood that something is differentiated here, isn't it? That's why it is given in bracket. Why do you use brackets when you are writing? Maybe you will be giving some additional ideas or something different from the original content. Here, the poet has used a parenthesis just to reflect the inner thoughts of Amanda. Why should the poet use that parenthesis? Just to reflect the inner thoughts in the sense imagination. Okay, so it reflects the inner thoughts of the little girl Amanda. Actually, they are not in response to the instruction of the mother. It is not the response actually. She is going to the imaginary world. This girl, she is actually less than 8 years. She is less than 8 years old. And this girl, she likes fantasy. She likes fantasy. So now she wants to become an imaginary creature. That's why it has been given in bracket. So whatever is given in the bracket, it is the imagination of Amanda. Understood, children? Let's see what it is. She is imagining there is a languid emerald sea where the sole inhabitant is me, a mermaid drifting blissfully. Now, Amanda, she wished to be a mermaid. Have you heard the word mermaid? Yes, of course, you might have heard because it is an imaginary creature which could be seen in the sea. How was the structure of mermaid? It will have the head and body of a woman. How about the leg? Will the mermaid have leg? Inside, it will have the tail of a fish. It is just an imaginary creature. Okay. So, the poet uses the word mermaid. Actually, mermaid is the well-known what? Imaginary creature. And here the poet says that there is a languid in the sense relaxed. So, languid, relaxed, emerald sea. So, do you think that the sea will be filled with emerald? Is it what do you mean emerald? Emerald means green, precious stone which is green in color. Here, the poet uses the word emerald sea just for the green color of the sea. It is being similar to the color of emerald. How that the sea seems to be green? Maybe due to the undergrowth of the plants, isn't it? It might reflect that green color. It might have reflected at the top and it would be looking like an emerald sea, right? So, one another thing we can say that emerald means green and it is the what? It just highlights hope. Clear, children? So here the poet tries to say that this girl, she is wishing, she is willing to, she imagines to live in a sea which is emerald in color, and that emerald color gives her hope to live in a relaxed manner where the sole inhabitant is me. Sole inhabitant in the sense only one person living there. She wants to be alone. She wants to live in a separate world. Okay, and a mermaid drifting blissfully. What do you mean by drifting? Slow and steady movement is called drifting. You can make note. Drifting, slow and steady movement. What do you mean by blissfully, children? Happily. Bliss, happy. Blissfully, happily. Clear, children? So here I would like to state the poetic device used. Can you guess what would be the poetic device here? Come on, tell me, children. What is the poetic device here? Metaphor. Actually, the whole stanza, the poetic device used is metaphor. She wants to live like a mermaid. Instead of stating like that, the poet has given a small stanza that she imagines like a mermaid. There is no comparison using the word like. So you can say that this is metaphor. For the whole stanza, we can say that it is metaphor. And one another poetic device used here is allusion. I hope you remember what is allusion. What do you mean by allusion? A reference of the well-known animals, creatures, places, events. Such things are called allusion. Here, the poet has used the word mermaid, which is a well-known imaginary creature in the world. So, the poetic device used in this stanza is allusion. You can say very boldly. Clear, children? Now, let me pass on to the next stanza. Did you finish your homework, Amanda? Did you tidy your room, Amanda? I thought I told you to clean your shoes, Amanda. What is the next instruction? That is, she should have done her homework and she should have been free. So, mother is asking whether she had finished her homework. And the next one is, did you tidy your room? What do you mean by tidy? Clean your room. I thought I told you to clean your shoes. Mother is reminding that she had already instructed the child to clean her shoes. So that happens. A weekend, you will be asked to clean your shoes. Maybe some parents will clean the shoes and some parents will make the children to clean the shoes because they should realize that they should have the self-help. They have to help themselves, isn't it? So the children might be asked to clean their own things. So here too, Amanda has been questioned whether she had cleaned her shoes. Now again, this girl, she did not respond. She did not respond to the instruction of the mother. She again went to the imaginary well. Let's see what she is imagining. I am an orphan roaming the street. I pattern soft dust with my hushed bare feet. The silence is golden, the freedom is sweet. See how she imagines. Who is called an orphan, children? Who is called an orphan? One who doesn't have the parents. Do you think that being an orphan is easy? Can an orphan live happily? No, not at all. They are helpless. They don't have anybody to help them. Nobody is there to maintain them. They cannot grow well. They cannot groom well without the parents. But this girl, she did not realize the advice of the mother and she wants to be an orphan. So according to her, if she is an orphan, she thinks that she can lead a carefree life. She can lead a carefree life. So that's why she wants to be an orphan. Clear, children? Roaming the streets, I pattern soft dust with my hushed bare feet. What do you mean hushed? Any guess about the meaning hushed? Hushed in the sense very quiet. Quiet and still. So, she wants to lead a carefree life like an orphan and she wants to pattern soft dust with the hushed. Hushed means very quiet and still. So, obviously, being an orphan, the child cannot enjoy all the expectation. The child might not have even slippers to walk. In that case, the child has to walk bare feet. What do you mean bare feet? Which are not covered. Bare feet in the sense which doesn't have the slippers. So, when she is walking bare feet, maybe she can just draw patterns on the soft dust. Doing patterns, you know, how they will be walking with the footprints and they can mark pattern also. The silence is golden, the freedom is sweet. Why the child is speaking that I patterned soft dust with my hushed bare feet? In the previous stanza, mother says that she should have cleaned her shoes. If she is walking with bare feet, then what is there to clean? So she wants that liberty. She doesn't want to wear even the slipper so that she will not have the responsibility of cleaning her shoes. Understood, children? See how the girl is. So she says that she would like to be an orphan, roaming and wandering the street and just making pattern with the soft dust with the bare feet. The silence is golden, the freedom is sweet. So, as she wants to roam free, this experience of roaming free and doing things as she likes, she feels that it is golden and sweet for her. Clear? Again, this is the metaphor. This is a metaphor, the comparison without as and like. So, silence is like golden, freedom is like sweet. So, the poet tries to say that silence is said to be glorious. Silence is said to be glorious. Glorious in the sense bright like golden color. How about freedom? Freedom is said to be sweet, is sweet in taste. So this is what she expects. She wants silence and freedom in her life. Understood, children? So that is how the second stanza goes. Let's see the third stanza. That is actually first part of the first stanza is about the speaker. Next stanza is the imagination of the child Amanda. So both comes under first stanza. So we have completed two stanzas. I'm moving to the third stanza. Don't eat the chocolate, Amanda. Remember your acne, Amanda. Will you please look at me when I'm speaking to you, Amanda? See what the mother says. Mother is very concerned about the condition of the child. So, in certain stages, the teenagers, they are expected to take care of themselves. They should be very careful and they should have their own responsibility. That is how the expectation will be. And here, Amanda, though she has crossed her childhood and she is in the teenager, she is consuming chocolates which will harm her teeth. So mother instructs her not to have chocolates and she is reminding about her acne. So as she is consuming much more chocolates, what happens? Definitely, being the teenager, she'll get some pimples. So some will not get affected, have consuming chocolate. Some will have develop the pimples on the face. Actually, acne is a common skin disease. Okay. It is a common skin disease characterized by pimples, especially on the face. Clear, children? That is called acne. Sorry, this spelling is A-C-N-E. So, mother reminds about her skin disease, that is acne. Already many acne has developed on her face. So, she is reminding that and she instructs her not to consume chocolates. And as the mother is speaking, actually this girl, she did not look at mother's face also. So mother got irritated. So what she says, will you please look at me when I'm speaking to you? So mother got irritated as the child did not look at the face of mother and she did not know whether the instruction what is given, whether it gets into the mind of the girl. So she is instructing the child to look at her face when she has been instructed. Understood, children? Yes, so that is how the third stanza goes. Again, there is an imagination of Amanda. Here, what Amanda thinks, she wants to be a Rapunzel. Have you come across a character? Have you heard a character named Rapunzel? Yes, as I told, this girl, she is very fond of the fantasies and fairy tales. You will come across a fairy tale with a character Rapunzel. Actually, she is a girl and she has been captured. She has been captured by a witch and she has been placed in a tower. You know what is a tower? It will be very tall. It is difficult. It is very difficult for the people to climb, isn't it? So she had been placed in a tower, and the witch used to come, and that too, this Rapunzel, actually this girl, she will live in that tower. She is having a long hair, and when she lets it out, the witch will climb up to communicate her. So likewise, with the help of her hair, she got contact with the prince and she escaped. Likewise, the story goes. Okay, so she says that I'm Rapunzel. I have not a care. Life in a tower is tranquil and rare. I'll certainly never let down my bright hair. So here she says that she wants to live like Rapunzel, who is a girl in the fairy tale. Clear, children? So, but what she says, I have not a care. So she wants to be free from all troubles and anxieties, and she wants to be in a peaceful state of mind. So she says that I have not a care. So if she goes there and lives in a tower, she will be leading a carefree life, and life in a tower is tranquil and rare. Tranquil in the sense it will be very free, very calm and quiet, and she will have the peaceful state of mind. Tranquil, peaceful state of mind. What do you mean rare? Uncommon. Rare, uncommon. So it will be a strange experience for the girl. Understood, children? So again, the poet has used the poetic device allusion. He has referred, he has compared, or he has referred the well-known fairy tale, and she has brought that character. He has brought that character in this poem. Okay. Now, as she was imagining, mother got irritated. So when you are talking to somebody, if you don't get any response in return, it will be very angry, isn't it? That is the state of mind of the mother also. So let's see how mother speaks to Amanda. Stop that sulking at once, Amanda. You're always so moody, Amanda. Anyone would think that I nagged at you, Amanda. So mother is very concerned that the child is keeping very quiet. She is very silent. Maybe because of sulking. Stop that sulking. Sulking in the sense being upset about something. So she is very angry or upset about something. So the mother says that you are always so moody. Moody in the sense you are not at all speaking out. You're just having everything in your mind and you're not speaking, you're not outspoken. So the mother couldn't guess what she thinks in her mind. So you're always so moody, Amanda. Anyone would think that I nagged at you, Amanda. So finally what mother regrets, so if you keep on maintaining silence like this, if you don't respond, what the others would think? Maybe I am continuously nagging at you, I nagged at you. Anyone would think that I nagged at you. Nagged at you in the sense finding fault. Clear? So you can, in other meaning, you can say that irritated by complaining about her attitudes. Maybe you as I have been complaining you frequently, you might got irritated. So don't be like that. Respond to my instruction. That is the last sentence uttered by mother. So what do you understand from this poem, children? Can you analyze the state of mind of Amanda? What does Amanda yearn for? Yes, Amanda yearns for freedom and peace in her life. Yes, she is yearning, she is longing for the freedom in her life. Yearning in the sense she longs for freedom and peace in life. So, what does this poem tell you about Amanda? Yes, what does this poem tell you about Amanda? Yes, about Amanda or about the poem Amanda. So here the poet, he tries to draw the reader's attention towards the condition of children who had been constantly oppressed by their elders in the name of good behavior. So they want the child to develop in a well-mannered way. So in such case, parents are trying or elders are trying to bring the child in a well-mannered way. So they are keep on giving instruction. But actually keep on instructing also will not be good to the parents and even the children, because the children, they'll be finding very difficult to adapt to the words of the parents, because even as they become a teenager, they have their own perspective. As I told, they want to be independent. In such cases, sometimes they will not pay attention to the parents. Clear? So the message I want to draw here is, so the message here is, parents, they should not suppress their children much. Parents should not suppress their children much. But still, I am not supporting the children alone. Children also, they should adapt to the parents' words, because they are acting only for the welfare of the children. In such case, you should also adjust. The children also should adjust to the parents' expectation. Clear, children? So that is how. So too many instructions and too much control are what? It has been opposed by the children. So they get bored. They get bored and they are fed up. So what happened? They just listen to the children half-heartedly and they just indulge in daydreaming. That should not happen. So that is how Amanda has been nagged, and she went on in daydreaming, isn't it? So that should not happen. That's the point here. So when I talk about the theme, the poem explores the theme of excessive restraints and control on young children and its consequences. So it explores the theme of excessive restraints, that is control or restrictions and control on young children and its consequences. What would be the result? So children will go on with the daydreaming. That is the consequence. Clear, children? So we should not be controlled by the elders, and children also should adapt to the elders. That is how we can conclude. Now, I discussed the theme and messages. We discussed that too many instructions also will not be favorable for the parents. They should not nag the children. That is the message. Now, coming to title justification. How can we justify the title? Is the title suitable for the poem? Yes, the story revolves around the character Amanda. So, she is the central character and a young girl also. So, the poem sketches the poem sketches the mental state of a young girl, and she had been nagged and she had been teased continuously by her mother. So that's why the poet has named the poem as Amanda. Clear, children? So that is how we can complete with the title justification. Now speaking about the poetic devices. So what are the poetic devices? When I taught you this, each and every stanza itself, I just discussed with the poetic devices. Okay, but still again, I wanted to recall along with the other poetic devices. So the first point, metaphor. So first one is metaphor. Where you come across metaphor? So when there is comparison, when comparison is made between two different things or ideas, then it is called metaphor. Where do you come across metaphor here? So in this poem, the poet uses the device of metaphor in the second, fourth and sixth stanza. As Amanda compares herself first to the mermaid, then next to the orphan, and finally to the young prince, that is a girl named Rapunzel. Clear? So that is how metaphor is used. Next one is rhyme scheme. I have already taught you how to find rhyme scheme, but still I would like to repeat what it is. First one, Amanda. I have taken the first stanza alone, Amanda. Next word. Next sentence, last word is Amanda. Again, straight. Then, see me blissfully. So, first word makes the sound Amanda. So, it can be assigned the letter A. Again, the same word is repeated. So, same letter can be assigned. Next, straight is different. The pronunciation is, the sound is different. So, it can be named as C. Again, Amanda, A. So, it comes under the same sound. So, C. Then, see me. See, blissfully, it's different. Clear? So, this is called rhyme scheme. This is how you can find out the rhyme scheme. And when coming to the alliteration, where do you come across alliteration? So, alliteration means in a particular sentence, you should have the letter, that is consonant letter, and you should have words which begins with consonant, word, consonant sound and letter, and it should be in the same line. So, where can we find? Stop slouching. Stop slouching. Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Next, you have the other sentence in the third stanza. Life is a tower, is tranquil. Can you see? T. So, these two come under alliteration. Understood, children? Next one is repetition. If any word is repeated twice or thrice in the sequential manner or in a particular sentence, it is called repetition. So, what word is repetition? Amanda has been repeated twice in a particular stanza. So, that is called repetition. Finally, anaphora. What is anaphora? If a particular word is repeated in the sequential manner, then it is called anaphora. We saw in other poems also. Here, which is anaphora? The word don't is repeated in the consecutive lines, isn't it? Can you see in the first two lines? So that is called anaphora. And one another thing is allusion. So comparison to mermaid, orphan and Rapunzel is called allusion. So these names are well known in the world. Okay, so that is called allusion. I hope that I have covered all the literary devices or the poetic devices, isn't it, children? So that is all for today's session, and I hope you understood the poem, isn't it? Yes, it was simple and I feel that it is interesting also. Okay, children? So one another point is in stanzas, in the first part, first stanza is spoken by mother. Other stanza which is given in parenthesis, it is the imagination of the child. Clear, children? I think I am very clear with the thing, right? Yes. So that is all for today's session. So let me meet you with the next topic. So go through all your lessons then and there, children. It's not just easy to go through together when you come after the reopening and think whether it will be retaught or not. It will not be retaught. It is very difficult to cover such a heavy portion at a stretch. So it's your duty to go through and have a follow-up with the teacher. During the doubt clarification session, many are not coming to the meeting at all. It is very bad to see. We are finding it very hard, and even we regret that many of your children are not coming to the Zoom session. So if you come only, you can clarify your doubts. So if you don't have doubts also, when some other students are asking for the doubt, you may also get cleared. You may also get some new ideas. You may also gather some important points at least. If you are not able to answer also, it's not a problem, children. You can listen to others' answer. We are not scolding. We are not criticizing you for not listening on something else, isn't it? So if you are not able to answer also, what we do? You are asked to hold in the line and you can listen to others' answers, so that you will improve yourself. You will be gathering some more points from the topic. So all should attend the Zoom session and clarify your doubts, so that you can have in touch. Till we come to the school, you will have to have a follow-up with the teacher. This is how you can interact with the teacher. Clear, children? So all should watch the video. Understood, children? Okay, thank you.